evening to all our esteemed guests, respected Principal Sir, Dr. Ramakanta Patra, workmate fraternity, and all our dear students of existing batches. I'm Shairi Poddar, working in the capacity of Training and Placement Officer. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, in association with Kolkata Cost and Management Society, has organized this one-day virtual program, Education and Beyond, for our students who are pursuing a professional course in BIMS. I'm sure they would imbibe all the valuable tips from the distinguished panelists present in today's program. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, India, was started in 2000 under the aegis of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan as a promising B school under Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad University of Technology, or MAKAUT. Our MBA program is affiliated to MAKAUT and is approved by All India Council for Technical Education, that is AICT, Ministry of HRD, Government of India, and also Department of Higher Education, Government of West Bengal. The institute conducts a 2-year MBA program and 3 years BBA program on a regular basis. Kolkata Cost and Management Society, which started its journey on 1st October 2019 with permission of West Bengal Society Registration Act 1961, with object to aware the government where unused and underused resources are there and subsequently effective utilization of that, as well as capacity building of society meanwhile. It's a 7 members body where President is Shri Hari Chava and Secretary is Shri Manas Kumar Thakur, along with other governing body members. The registered office is situated in Belghoria. Moving on to today's program, I request everyone's attention as we mark the opening of the session by lighting the lamp, a hello tradition seeking the divine grace. Ranada.
Sorry, if it is problem, then you start direct. Time is a factor.
Okay, fine, sir. Stop. Yes. Okay. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce you to our eminent panelists. Dr. Ramakanta Patra, Principal Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Institute of Management Science, Kolkata. Dr. Ramakanta Patra completed his graduation, BA and post-graduation in MA from Calcutta University, LLB professional, 2 years full-time Masters in Personnel Management. He has done his PhD in Human Resource Accounting from Bhopal University. He has more than 12 years of experience in different industries and 26 years in academics, including 14 years of National Institute of Technology, that is NIT, Bhopal, Government of India, as the best work and received grant in aid for its publication. CMA Dr. Shri Hari Chava, who is President of Kolkata Cost and Management Society. Padma Shri Dr. Ajay Kumar Roy, Executive Director, IIEST Shibpur. Professor Ajay Kumar Roy has just joined JIS Institute of Advanced Studies and Research as its director. After his retirement as Professor of Electronics and Communication,
These things you stop. You better just, okay. I think it need not be read.
Okay, sir, as you say. Then Professor Dr. Bishwajit Ghosh, Vice Chancellor, Neotia University. Mr. Debashish Biswas, who's founder and CEO of Maxillance Advisory and Consulting Services Private Limited. Can we have the next slide, please? Dr. Ashok Ranjan Thakur, ex-Vice Chancellor of WBUT and Sister Nivedita University. CMA Manas Kumar Thakur, who's Secretary of KCMS. Professor Dr. Ashish Kumar Sana, Head Department of Commerce, University of Kolkata. So I would request our principal, sir, Dr. Ramakanta Patra, to start the panel discussion.
Very good evening to our esteemed guests, my dear students, faculty colleagues, and other participants. I, on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, and KCMS, welcome one and all present over here and the guests. A warm evening to all of you. I may take the privilege to welcome Padma Shri Ajay Kumar Ray, Professor Bishwajit Ghosh, Professor A.R. Thakur, CMA Dr. Sri Hari Chawa, Mr. Debashish Biswas, CMA Manas Kumar Thakur, and Dr. Ashish Kumar Sana. I once again express my sincere gratitude to all of you, sir, for being present over here. And we all are waiting, and our students community from you learn the tips and guide them regarding their career path. Thank you all. And let me tell you, the objective of this program is first about the students, because students' mindset is like that. They want to anyway pass the professional degree like MBA and BBA and attending only the credit papers, subjects and few classes. But out of this, beyond the classroom, there are a lot of things needs to be done, because ultimate objective of everybody, parents' objective that their children should get a job and bring smile in their faces, and the institute's faculty's objective is to see that after completion of this degree, they are well placed, well established. So from the bottom of the ladder, we can see, say, hey, see, this is my student, I have taught them. So this gives them satisfaction. But everybody wants a TTMP mode, 10A2 metric pass mode. Means, anyway, they want to get the degree. But after getting, employability becomes a problem. Employment is not a problem. Employment is available, but employability, the requisite skill, requisite knowledge, requisite exposure, which is required by the corporates, that is very much missing in among the today's students. So that is we thought when we were deciding the topic. I was discussing with CMA Manas Kumar Thakur And we thought that we must give some sort of service, some sort of guidance to the students so that they can design their career path accordingly. And that is the objective of this program. And after this, after the pandemic situation, lot of skill sets have been changed. Lot of new skills the students need to update. Because, take the case of this pandemic situation in March 2020, when it started, even faculty members also were not aware how to take the class online. And students were also not aware that how to study through online. This became a challenge for all of us, and acquaintances, and everybody started updating. So after this also, lot of problem has come. Lot of corporates have been closed. Lot of new skills have come. So that the students need to know, and that is how we have organized this program, and from the experts today, and we are happy to have with us today the renowned speakers, Padma Shri Professor Ajay Kumar Ray and Professor Biswas Ghosh and other speakers, their experience and guidelines for the students they will give through this program. And now the students' professional degree has become a challenge. Okay, after getting this degree, whether they are employable or not, learn the tips, and there is no shortcut. Everybody, suppose if you copy a shortcut file, very difficult to open. So don't, student, I will advise the student, don't go for any shortcut route. Try to go complete details, update yourself so that you can fulfill the corporate expectations, so that you are corporate ready material. So it becomes very easy for the institutes to give you the placement. So this is the objective of this program. Once again, I will not take more time because all are waiting anxiously to listen from the experts today. So thank you all once again from the core of the heart. I once again, on behalf of Bharata Village, to welcome one and all present over here. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now request CMA Dr. Sri Hari Chawar to put forth his points.
Namaskar. Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Patra, CMA Manasji, Dr. Biswajit, Padma Shri Dr. Ajay, Dr. Sri Devajit ji, and Dr. Ashok, and students and friends. Very good evening to you all. As I was about to come to this webinar, I have remembered a small story of an ancient scholar who used to live in southern India. And he was so systematic. Every day, he used to go to a banyan tree, pluck the leaves, and eat his food in those leaves only. One of these days, he found that the tree was being cut. He asked them, "Why are you cutting this tree?" We were ordered by the Sultan that there should not be this banyan tree, therefore we are cutting this tree. If that is so, my daily rituals would be affected. I would go and appeal to the Sultan in Delhi. Please wait for 6 months. And the scholar reached Delhi by walk. He could not see the Sultan the very day. Therefore, he went to relax on the banks of Yamuna. Two persons were quarreling there. They were abusing each other, accusing each other, so on and so forth. Suddenly, the Sultan's soldiers came, took them away, and they also took the scholar as a witness to the quarrel. Sultan started questioning these culprits. He could not make out anything. He asked the scholar, can you say who is at fault? The scholar said, I can't say who is at fault, but I can recite whatever they have said. And he recited verbatim whatever was happening. The Sultan was surprised. How is that? So I am a scholar. I can learn by listening to anyone once. Ek santha grahi, as is told in our ancient days. The Sultan was so impressed. Why are you in Delhi? Sir, my tree is being cut. I grant you not only the tree, I grant you the whole village. Go and enjoy, maintain your scriptures and keep teaching students and advocate education. That is the Indian history of education. And moving on, post-independence India, we have several public sector undertakings that have come up. If you look at that, government, apart from bringing up these public sector undertakings, they have also constructed several staff colonies. They have provided schooling, education, etc., etc. And if you look at Kharagpur model, etc., in the next generation, the education was too high, employment was too high, and prosperity was too high. This model, once upon a time, was considered to be replicated at several places. That is the impact of education. And remember Mahabharata. Arjuna learned archery from Dronacharya, but he practiced archery in darkness as well. In modern days, we heard the story of batting master Sachin Tendulkar practicing batting in darkness. So apart from education, practice is also a must. Research is also a must, and that makes you perfect. And in the words of Dr. APJ Kalam, learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. With this, let us go ahead to learn, unlearn, relearn, and keep striding further and further. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really informative. May I now request Padma Shri Dr. Ajay Kumar Ray to enlighten our students. Over to you, sir. Dr. Ray?
Did you call me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, in fact.
No problem, sir.
So a very good evening to all the participants, the students of this great institution of management, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, and also the faculty members of this institution. I'm really delighted that you have organized this program, which is of immense importance. And here we have Professor Harish Tawa, who is the president of your institute, Professor CMA Thakur, who is the secretary, Professor Patro, and my very good friend, Professor Bishwajit Ghosh, Professor Ashok Thakur, Mr. Professor Bishash, and Professor Sana. They are the co-speakers. Without wasting much time, in fact, I was listening to the story that Dr. Srihari was just narrating. So I thought that let me also start with another such story about, it's a story, not a story, it's a part of history. It's a part of history of 18th century India. And you know that Holkar dynasty, which is a very famous dynasty of Maratha dynasty. They were initially in Maratha, but then they had extended their dynasty to large part of Madhya Pradesh. Then they went to northern part of India. And so Marathas, they also tried to come to Bengal and Orissa those days. So it's an 18th century. Ahilyabai was one of their great rulers, the queen. And her father-in-law was Malla Rao Holkar. In fact, Malla Rao is the person who was instrumental in expanding the entire, the Holkar dynasty and the Holkar rule in western, central, and northern part of India. Now, if you just go through the management issues, in 18th century, they had the same kind of things. A very important thing is that Ahilyabai, she belonged to a very, almost from a very poor village, and she belonged to a middle class family of a very small village. But then one day, Malla Rao, who was the Holkar's, Subedar, so he was moving through that village. And then suddenly, in a temple, he saw Ahilyabai. And Ahilyabai, she was protesting against some of the things. Those days, there was a patshala, a school in that village. Yet the people, they used to force the women after their husbands died to embrace Shoti. And then if not, then that girl will be forced to stay alone in a room, and she's not supposed to go out, she's not supposed to meet anybody else. So it was a very interesting thing. Anyway, so when Malla Rao saw Ahilyabai, immediately he thought that he will make this 8 years girl his daughter-in-law. And that's how it proceeded. Ahilyabai school. Interestingly, those days women were not supposed to study, girls will not study, they will not go to the school. And there was a huge uproar, not only in the Subedar's family, their queens and everybody, they were against it. In fact, including Ahilya's parents, they said, they tried to convince Ahilya that, look, it's not proper that the girls should study. Only the boys will go to the school, to Patshala, and they will study, not the girls. Interestingly, the way Malla Rao, he was convinced, and he was one of the most important personalities. Even in throughout India, that was the custom those days. And he insisted that, okay, the necessity of studies or going to school is not just to, follow what is conventionally being done, but then much more importantly, the definition and the ultimate outcome of a school should be to create or to generate manpower which has got a analytic, a mind that can progress, a mind which can distinguish between good and bad, a mind which can analyze. In spite of the fact that after that, after 18th century, in fact, in 18th century only, in 1757, there was the Battle of Plassey, which And then the 200 years rule till 1947. We had the conventional education system, lots of our students, and even in 70 years, 75 years almost, our schooling system here. School means school, college, university, where we are churning out the students, but then mind, which is so important for really tackling the problems of the society, of the earth, of the environment. So interestingly, education system, it is something like this. There's an interesting experiment which some, some zoologists and psychiatrists, they had performed small food stuff, and then they drew a circle, and a set of caterpillars were put there. So it was found that suppose the caterpillar is moving ahead, and then on that circle, there are food items, which the caterpillar, small leaves. And caterpillar, one caterpillar was eating it, moving ahead, and then the next caterpillar also doing the same. The next one behind it was also doing the same. And they were continuously eating. And in spite of the fact that there was food somewhere else, so the second person will always follow the first person. The third person will always follow the second person. So basically, there was no way that the caterpillars will, go out of this circular fashion, and they kept on moving around that circle again and again and again. And this is, as a matter of fact, the type of education, when you call it, the type of education that we are imparting in our institutes. It may be school, it may be college. So there is hardly, much of an effort where one could go out of this circle. So it's a circular kind of things. Whatever was done yesterday, we are simply following. Rather, our education system was going on like this, but it may be mentioned that initial days, it was the Western people who definitely had done much more creative, and the compulsion on their part that they could do a lot of experiments. And even today it's true that much of our education, while it did much of what they do in the Western countries, and obviously, even the research part in United States or even in Europe, in many countries, there are a number of brilliant researchers throughout the country, in India. Yet, we cannot come out of that kind of an psychology. So this is my first thing, that is education now and beyond. So we have to just look beyond the formal education, whatever is going on. And if you can just see that during this corona, this epidemic, if you say that, okay, the university students or the institution students who are coming out, they will be having a minimum kind of analytic mind. Do you think that the way our young people or even the older ones, like even of our age, we have been behaving during this corona pandemic in a way they should behave, and there is absolutely no way that there was no effort circle that, okay, everybody is doing, so I will also do the same. Everybody is having massive meetings, I will also have the same. So these were the kind of things. It's very, very unfortunate. And until and unless somebody can come out of this, is very difficult to achieve the something which is called beyond. Now, what is that something? You will find that since you are all students of management, that some of the great personalities in the area of management, like say Peter Drucker, he used to say that the most important thing in man, which means that you have to look ahead. Challenges are coming. You have to accept one thing, one truth in today's world, and that is change. Every moment change is coming, and then this change has to be accepted. For example, last year we had the corona, and we thought that, okay, the corona is no more. After 7-8 months, there was so much of slackening. In the meantime, this virus, they are also becoming more and more intelligent. So intelligent means what? They are constantly, there is a metamorphosis. So they are constantly mutating in the biological term, as they say. So this mutation, which is constantly and which is giving rise to the different strains, even Indian strain. In India itself, there are multiple number of strains which have come up. That means what? That means change is the only thing in today's world. So in management parlance, if you can find out that some changes, some challenges are coming ahead, those who will be able to see those challenges and changes, they will be able to overcome it. Others, no. I will tell you another, very interesting story, which you should know, especially as, the students of management. But then this is a story of technological changes, and story not of 80s, but it's only 20th century in 1970s. It was first, marketed by one Motorola company. The first mobile phone that that came out of Motorola's factory, it was weighing 1 kilogram, 1 kg weight, and it was looking like a brick. So Motorola's CTO, imagine one brick of 1 kg weight, and then through that he talked to the CTO of Bell Labs. Bell Labs is another place which had given so much to humanity. There are two agencies, one is Bell Labs, one is IBM. They have really revolutionized what we see today in science and technology. So he talked to him and he said that Dr. So-and-so, this is the first telephonic, mobile telephonic message from Motorola. And that was the historic day, somewhere around, I think, 76 or somewhere around that time. And then it was really a history because for the first time, a cellular phone, wireless, using no wire, technology was used for communication. Now, Motorola, they went ahead. In fact, so far as the computers are concerned, the computer chips, as we call, so microprocessors, all these Motorola, Intel, they started at the same time. But Motorola could not succeed much in having those PC chips for the personal computers, whereas, Intel, they went ahead in that sector. But Motorola, they took care that in mobile phone, they must go ahead. So in mobile phone, Motorola as management, their management, they thought that, okay, using this current technology, how much we can cover. They felt that, okay, a part of America can be covered, okay, and that too, mainly the Eastern and Western America, both coasts can be covered, and a part of Southern coast. But to expand the business, they must go so that the European countries are also covered through this phone. How to do it? Now to erect, you, as a student of management, you need not erect the mobile tower. $1 lakh to erect a single mobile tower. Now that was quite expensive. So they thought, the management, the highest level of management, they thought that can we make use of the satellites? So there came the concept of satellite phones. So they 25 such satellites will be required for covering the whole globe. So that even if not the whole globe, that at least large part of United States and Europe and a part of Asia. So 75 was, the number of satellites will be required. So they decided that, okay, we'll cover the whole world using such satellite cell phones, and they started their entire journey. But in the meantime, what happened? That the cost of erecting the mobile towers came down very fast. From $1 lakh, it came down to 75,000, 50,000, even $30,000. But Motorola, they were spending huge amount of money in having all those, global satellites to cover the entire world. It was so far as the scientific technology is concerned, it's very good concept, but then it was a completely, wrong management decision. They could not foresee. They could not foresee the basic thing that the tower cost will come down. So they should have waited, but then that's what they did not do it. And Motorola gave it to another company. They had incurred huge amount of loss, as a matter of fact. The prediction, the management people to see, as Peter Drucker had talked about, that to see something, the challenges ahead. If you cannot see the challenges, then you cannot do anything. You will only be going behind the challenges, and you will only be chasing the challenges. But those who can see, unfortunately, the management of the country, the political management, they also require such kinds of visionaries who can see the challenges ahead. In India, we could not see the challenges that this COVID can bring about after again few months, after the first, massive onslaught. Now we have got the second shock wave, and we are not prepared. Today there's no oxygen, no. In fact, today only I went to take the second vaccine. Most of the hospitals in Calcutta, they did not have the second vaccine. They did not have vaccine. They said, we are sorry, sir, you have to once again come. And that's the kind of situation. Why is it so? because we could not see. See, my dear friends, under education means that you must have the universities must create an environment where the students should be enabled to see the case ahead. How not by conventionally whatever we are teaching. Not simply learning standard textbooks, them, but they do not have any idea of where it is going ahead. So that is one of the major problems. Creating a creative mind, an analytic mind, is the most important. Have done it. It's not that I tell you. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That I was can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Thakur, am I audible? And was not working.
You are audible, sir.
So
Yes, yes,
I
sir.
think that if I have taken more time, then shall I continue?
No, sir. No, sir. Please carry on, sir. Some
Yes, sir.
network issues are there.
Hello.
Now, is it okay? Shall I continue or?
Hello.
Okay, so in fact, no, I not Muslim, but there is a thing and especially those who are in the management tracks, that all the time, hello, that all that we are facing. না এটা কি আমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছি? Can you hear?
কোথায় বল কোথায়
Hello,
Hello.
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 I think
Hello. Srinjani. Hello. Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible. Hello. তাহলে তাহলে নেক্সট এটা আরম্ভ করে দিতে বলুন। তা না, আপনি সিঞ্জনিকে বলে দিন না, সিঞ্জনিকে বলে দিন, সিঞ্জনি মানে যে অ্যাঙ্কারকে বলে দিন, হ্যাঁ, যে এটা ডিস্টার্ব হচ্ছে, নেক্সট স্পিকার।
Okay, thank you, sir. Due to some network disturbances, we could not listen to him. So over to Professor Dr. Bishwajit Ghosh. I would request him to give some valuable suggestions to our students. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, because there is a lot of dignitaries, and that Professor Rai has started very good way from the history, right? And I have make a two presentation today and also day after tomorrow, Monday, because Mr. Thakur told me that we have to address you, one for the teachers, another for the students, right? But I requested him that you inform all the students and the teacher to stay in my lecture, because I always like to learn from everyone, from teacher to students, everyone, because learning has no ending.
Yes.
I will start that, in our system, there are the three axes, X, Y, Z, means length, breadth, and height. But there is another axis called the time axis. And time axis is represented by ICT. I is root of -1, C is the velocity of light, and T is the time. If you multiply the velocity with the time, you will get a dimension of the length, right? The length is an imaginary length. Past is dark, past is hazy, future is dark. We don't know what will happen in future. We are making our present in such a fashion that the darkness for the future will go away, or it is diminished. That's the idea for things. Now, what Professor Roy has said, or Hari Java has started, I give one of the history. When John Bernard invented television, the newsman has gone to him and asked, what is the utility? He told it will go to see the the rays of the electron beam and something like that, and the image. They mentioned when it will come to the people. Oh, impossible, because I want to fulfill my dream. Same thing, that in Cambridge, Professor Arthur Eddington, who was the famous guru of Chandrasekhar Subramanian, who got the Nobel Prize, he was asked when in 1948 that when the people will keep its foot on the moon's surface, he will tell never, at least 200 years after. What will happen in 71? Neil Armstrong has put his feet. It is very difficult to predict the future. Can you feel today that a teacher in a virtual mode take the class? We have not seen it, but we have to accustomed. So I don't know how much time will be allotted and what is the network situation. I want to present you something which will be, I think, beneficial for the student as well as the teacher. Let us share, and I will make it hurry. If there is a problem, you please remind me. Okay. So let us think that way. I don't know whether I'll give to the full screen mode or not, but there may be a problem. Let us try with the full screen mode. Right. Or I'll go for this way. Anyway. Yeah. So this is my topics, the teaching and learning from the perception to practices. What is life? If you think of the life is consisting of energy. Life consists of metabolism. Life is consisting of DNA and protein. Light is consisting of form. Can you share my film, the presentation? Can you share? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see the first metabolism. The life is a process of chemical transformation of substances. Equilibrium versus energetic downhill. Affinity versus affinity and reactivity. Catalytic efficiencies and kinetic. The presence of DNA, because I'm telling you tomorrow is the DNA day. That Watson and Crick discovered that DNA in tomorrow, 25th April. DNA to protein. Life is a flow of information. You are getting life, right? Everyone has a speech, what Jesse Bose has told. That everyone, if you remember your preliminary experiments in your chemistry laboratory, you will find that sometimes we take the salt through the platinum wire, put in the flame, we see the color. Color is there, to me, color is there, the speech is a flow of information. Finite number of body plans in nature, right? Life is a thermodynamic and kinetic process. It's a thermodynamics, right? Chemistry, protein production, free energy, breathing, and it's equilibrium dynamics. Life is energetic, right? Life is from energy to member, the energetic, the low entropy, and the order of the state of corporation. So if you can cycle this one, metabolism to energy, energy to form, form to diminish, something like that, that way life is going on. How life has come, how the world has come, universe has come, it has come from the Big Bang theory, from the stars to explosion, explosion to compression, and that compression is forming the stars, and sun is a kind of the star which is below a particular limit called the Chandrasekhar's limit, a dwarf star, and from that Earth has come out. So this is something like a 400 million years ago.
Hello.
I have no time, that's why otherwise.
Ah,
No, when the Earth was crushed away, right? How the life has come out? There is a volcano,
nah.
form the cloud, and cloud will form the
Nah.
discharge phenomena, the light,
Ah.
right? And the discharge phenomena form the amino acids and the DNA, the fundamental component of life. And it has been presented, this type of discharge was there initially, the astronomer has presented particularly from the data. And this discharge for the DNA, and it was proved experimentally by, Stanley Miller in present. He make an experiment that let us take a water vapor, put the flame inside, the water will get vaporized, and he put the three or four gases, nitrogen, methane, hydrogen, ammonia, develop a spark. The systems condensed, and the condensation was collected, and he observed that the collection of an organic compound, you see, from water vapor to organic compound, and they make a model that raw material, ammonia, methane, hydrogen, and that water vapor. The water is a fundamental component of life, and the energy is going on, metabolism is going on, composition is going on, and ultimately you come to the DNA and the virus. So this is the way for the life formation. When there is a life, there is a soul, and there are three types of soul. Means we know that the cell division started life. Without cell division, life could not come. That's why, the inerts are, there is no life. And life, if there is a soul, there are three types of soul: plant soul, animal soul, and human soul. Plant soul, there is a two expectation: reproduction and the growth. They give the fruits, the vegetables, and something like that, or the leaves, and they grow it. Sensitive soul, there is animal soul. There's mobility and sensitization. You know that the crows, the dogs, when they get a smell, they go away, right? And human soul is a rational soul. They are thought and reflection. And if there is a thought and reflection, human soul always thinking for new ideas, and new ideas is delivered by the teacher. That's why teacher has come, a guru has come from the human soul. And the role of the guru is to communicate with the knowledge, subject knowledge to the student's knowledge. That's why we think for a teacher. Why you need the teacher? Who will be the teacher? How teacher, and what is the contribution of a teacher? The best teacher in our life is mother and the nature. Mother help us to know what is alphabet. Mother help us to combine the alphabet to have a word. Mother helps us to form a sentence, and sentence is the ultimate spectrum of the life. That the presentation, when you are angry, your presentation is different when you are in joyful mode. So mother is a primary absolute teacher in the life. And later on I have seen that nature, we have learned many things from the nature. And if you look at the Mahabharata, the question was coming, Mahabharata, Guru Dronacharya has that he has 105 students, 5 Pandavas and 100 Kaurav. And one day he gave an assignment that we just put a bird, and we have to hit the eye of that bird. He called one by one, and he called Arjun. What you are saying? He told only that eye, Guru, fire. You know what is the implication? Implication is that thing that when Arjun was such a good concentrator that he was own Draupadi. Draupadi has to win. Draupadi cannot be snatched. Draupadi was win because he has to shoot that eye of the fish which was at the top, and there is a wheel and the shadow of the water, and he has to look at that shadow of that that eye of that that hit it. That's why in Karma Yoga, in Gita Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga is mentioned Yoga Karmoshu Kausalam. Concentration is a device for doing work. So student, please make your concentration when a teacher is addressing the class, right? So let us see, what is teacher, right? Importance of education. All religions attach to the great importance of the knowledge and the education, because that I have already mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Pragyani Brahma, in the Gyan Yoga, Knowledge is the power. Multiply the power with the time, you'll get the energy. In Quran, the first verse, Ikra, means read, understand. In Bible, knowledge is power. Vivekananda told in Chicago, the education is a manifestation of perfection almost in a human being, right? And my conclusion that they are not the students of our generation where we sit down and listen. Definition of time has changed. They want to explore, cut, and paste. You know, this is the system. Traditional method of teaching. Traditional method of teaching, the very deductive teaching. This includes facts and principle derived from the mathematical model, right? So illustrative example of the models, assign similar derivation at the homework, assignment done on the reflection over the answer script, we judge them, and major limitation, lack of knowledge in ground reality, which was Mr. Chava has mentioned, ground reality, we looked for the ground reality. Innovative teaching and learning method, we call the inductive teaching and learning method. We are inducing the student. Inquiry, you know, the inquiry learning consists of inquiry and discovery. You inquire and discover the student's weakness, the strength, right? Problem-based teaching and learning, hybrid project-based teaching and learning, consisting of experiments and speculation. Student teacher can experiment and make a speculation how he will reach to the student's knowledge, or how he will connect the book's knowledge to the student's knowledge. Case-based teaching and learning system, that you go to the field, make out teach activity, what is happening there, what is the wrong and what is the right, just in time teaching and learning, which was happening today. Come to the class, go, take the piece of paper, something like that. This is not the issue. Rationale and aims. Evaluate traditional method of teaching as well as, you know, the learning, multimedia teaching method, right? Then teaching must be two major components, sending and receiving information. Teachers are sending, students are receiving, right? Any communication method that serves the purpose without destroying the objective could be considered as an innovative method of teaching, right? Benefit of the innovative teaching method, improve learning process, strengthening the governance, which is very much application in terms of the management studies, because you are controlling the governance. Now, teaching is learning. Training of mind is not a stuffing of the brain. Teachers should train the mind, not stuff the brain, so many theories and other things. It is not a transferring of teacher's note to the student's exercise book. It cannot be a chess game that can be played without a referee, because you know the chess game only without referee they can play, the two player. It can be develop a new mindset where you are coming. Mother and nature is the best teacher and have to know many things from mother and nature that I mentioned earlier. Learning is exchange of knowledge and sharing of thought. I still learning from my students. Someone asked me, because I was very much inclined at Jadavpur University. They told, why are you going to Neotia? I am told that I have done this type of thing teaching. Now I will to build up the students. The students has come in expectation and I have to help them. Analogous of the teaching. Teaching just like fishing. You use different type of lures and different fish. Use different method of the different type of learner. Teaching is just like a mutual music, because where the instruments methods are instruments. When you play alone, they make sound. When they play together in tune, rhythm, feeling, and integrate them, and it became amazing music. So teachers should follow this thing, Then what more? Innovative method of teaching is an instructional method. Define the method of instruction, discuss the factor to consider when selecting a method of instruction, distinguish between the method of instruction and instructional aid, identify and discuss the variety of teaching method, which was applicable to you. The pre-technology education context, the teacher was a sender or the source. Educational material is the information or the message. The student is a receiver of the information, and delivery media was chalk and talk. Now, later on come to overhead projector and transparencies. Such a lecture, the student can assume purely passive. In the classes, their concentration faded after 15 to 10 minutes, and they come drizzling on something like that. Method of teaching. See, method is a procedure or process for attaining the objective as a systematic procedure, technique, and mode of inquiry employed by the proper or a particular discipline or art. A systematic plan followed by the presenting materials for the instruction, right? Way, technique, process, or doing something, a body skills, body language sometimes help the teacher also to learn the students. If you think for the objective method and flow of information of the teacher and the student, teaching method tend to synonyms and technique according to Webster. Teaching strategy, careful plan. It serves an important function to achieving the specific outcome. Instructional 8, chalk and board, flip chart, PowerPoint, overhead, VCR, real object, etc. Teaching approach is a holistic process, including the teaching steps, problem-solving strategy, and the teaching method. You can go for lecture explaining, you can go for the resource people, you can make a case studies, you can make a group discussion, you can make a brainstorming or batch group, you can make a field trip or outreach activities and the studies. I am making hurry because the time is very short. Teaching in the classroom using a chalk and talk is a one-way flow of information. It's not both way. Teachers often continuously talk for an hour without knowing the students' response and feedback. What the students are understanding or not, they don't know. The material presented only based on the lecture notes or textbook. There is insufficient interaction with the students in the classroom. More emphasis has to be given on the theory, practical, and real life situation. Learning from memorization is not understanding. Student expectation. Want a solid knowledge base, real world application, because now the private education has come. Students are giving a much more better fees, not as government funded universities or government institution. Want a clear, organized presentation material. They want to be stimulated, activity and participatory. They want know why, how this activity reading connect to their future career. The faculty want enthusiastic, helpful, and engage with expected, the customer services. Want face-to-face contact, but accept boundaries. Students challenge. Feel why for tuition fees? That's the question is coming, because money is not the mud. Money is the effort of everyone, right? Team-based learning, some to do one to work the group. Do all the members contribute equally? Too difficult to schedule, to coordinate, some dominate, another height. If you look at a group of teachers, some dominate, some heights. Student perception, you see, I hear and I forget. That's the perception. I see and I believe. If I can see, I can believe, yes, it's happening. I do and I understand. If I do it in my own hand, then I can understand, otherwise not. I need realization. When I get the degree, what will help in my career life? Or it will help me to earn the money or not? Future challenge, fear, faculty's challenge. Fear, stop, lecturing and lose control. If the students are shouting something like that, faculty lose control. Won't cover all the materials. Will students do the work? Peer assessment of the group teamwork, precaution of the students' dissatisfaction, lower rating, something like that, they punish unnecessarily without good teaching. That's the drawback of the faculty member. It is happening, it's the reality, because we are all human beings. Teaching, for example, I'm giving a simple example. 4x, 3x plus 4y is equal to 5, and 6x plus 8y is 7. Can you get the value of x and y? You try, you'll find it's very difficult. It's not so easy, right? Second, I give an option that a plus minus b whole square. What is this formula? A square plus minus y is ab plus b square. But I told no, it is a square plus b square. It's possible. As a teacher in class, is it possible? When I get the class, yes, it's possible. Means a clever student will give the answer that in my case there is a 2ab term, but your case 2ab term is absent, 2ab term 0. Why 2ab is 0? Answer is 2 cannot be 0. A cannot be 0, you will not get the square. B cannot be 0, that B cannot exist. So we are thinking A and B, they are the matrix. One is a 1, 0 matrix and 0, 1 matrix. And if we multiply it become null matrix, it vanishes. So A plus minus B, A square plus minus 2 AB plus B square and A square plus B square are same and equal. And based upon this thing, we develop the computer. What is 0? You A plus 0 is equal to A minus 0 is equal to A multiplied by 0 is equal to 0, a divided by 0 is equal to infinite, a to the power 0 is equal to 1. What about the 1? A plus 1 increasing, a minus 1 decreasing, a into 1 a divided by 1 a to the power 1 is equal to a. See the difference between the 1 is fire, another is water. 0 is a fire and 1 is the water. Someone is, they both they containing the hydrogen and oxygen. Someone can burn it, someone can destroy it. right? You see, someone can continue. It's even from mythology to modern science. We have seen that someone is acting like a fire and someone acting like a water, but both are the combination of hydrogen and oxygen. And finally, eyes cannot see what mind does not know. If your mind doesn't know it is a watch, your eye cannot read it. So the teachers have to tell everything to the student that, look, this is a watch and you have to read this way. And if you come to your mind, you can do it, right? So let us go one by one. Teacher-student relationship. How are teacher-student relationship? I mentioned in many places, this is my, the perception from, it is not borrowed from anyone. I give this lecture throughout the world, this thing, that university is just like a cone. If you cut the cone in 2 dimensions, you will get the 5 parameter, a parallel straight line, a pair of straight line, a circle, a parabola, an ellipse, a hyperbola, this thing. And if you see the equation of the straight line is y is equal to mx plus c, single power equation. Go to circle, x square plus y square is equal to s square, double power equation, unit center is 0, 0. Eccentricity is 0. Parabola, y square is equal to 4ax. Eccentricity is 1. Ellipse, x square by s square plus y square by b square is equal to 1. It's an ellipse, and hyperbola, x square by s square minus y square by b is equal to 1. Eccentricity is greater than 1. You see what is happening? Students are single power. They are immature. They can do anything and everything. It is very difficult because they are completely impatient. That that in Jadavpur University, one of the vice chancellors has to leave because of the student agitation. And circles are the teachers. Teachers are bound to everywhere. Teachers are bound to the students. Teachers are bound to his mind. Teachers are bound to the administration. Teachers are bound to the society. Because if my students has do the wrong thing, society will raise a finger against me. How you have teach the student? They don't know the custody of the manner. The parabola, y square is equal to 4x, is equal just like it, our non-teaching staffs. If vice chancellor or registrar does not give a comma, they will not allow because x is 1. Ellipse, x is less than 1. We, vice chancellor, another thing, we are controlled by the management. And hyperbola, the management, entire thing, they can do anything. You can keep their job, they can do everything. So it is a future because I communicate this thing. Now, what will happen to a teacher and the students that I mentioned to you? The straight line equation y is equal to mx plus c and circle equation x square plus y square s square. Superpose the values of y there. What you will find? You will find x square plus mc plus x whole square is equal to s square. It's a quadratic equation of the x, and its solution is minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac. And it has a 2 root or the 3 roots. And the roots will be just the value of b square minus 4ac. If b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, the roots are real and distinct. B square minus 4ac is equal to 0, roots are equal, and b square minus 4ac is less than 0, the roots are imaginary. What will happen in the first day? Teachers is here. You are a student. Teachers is teaching, and he is so good teacher that you are approaching toward the teacher, and at a particular time you touch the teacher. What you are telling, what teacher is telling, you are listening, and what teacher is giving the assignment, you are giving the feedback. So you become attention, right? And after some times, you are overcome the teacher, right? Teacher is so famous to you, something like that. What will happen? You see that a particular time when they become a parallel chord, if you can draw the locus of the center chord of the parallel chord, right? You'll find twice r, right? What the circumference of a circle? Twice pi r. And what is performance of a teacher? Twice pi r by twice r. And it is just like that pi, value of pi 3.1415972 is going to uncertainty. The teachers are versatile. What about the students' performance? Student performance are something like that, different, right? The students' performance something like that. And what is happening? Someone is making the drawing on the blackboard and is creating the problem for showing my this PowerPoint presentation. What has happened to the students? I cannot understand. Are you not happy with my presentation? They leave it. I will not waste my time. My time is very costly. You are drawing so many things and you are disturbing myself. Modern teaching, multimedia teaching, this is coming out. Audio, animation, Molten, something like that. You are putting so many things, and I am giving my best effort to teach you. You will ask Marosh Babu. I am not asking any money or something like that to get this lecture, and I have put a lot of efforts. There were 96 slides for you. What for? If you are not interested, tell me. Write on the board. I'll go out. I'll not mind. And if you are interested, steady on. Otherwise, forget. I'll not, even Monday, I will not give the lecture. Big care. Because you have come to a disciplined institution. Mind it. There is a text. There is an image. There is an audio. There is a video. And there is an animation. Traditional method of teaching, multimedia system, one-way flow, teachers, students, and multimedia. They have been touched and cut each other. Now, innovative way of mind map developed by the Tony Buzan in 1960, making notes with the keywords and image, visual sensory, or the tools at the disposal, recollect information for a long time. Innovative way, mind map, that thing that I have mentioned. Approach from Z to A means very weak student to very strong student. The strength, the weakness, you can clarify. Role of there is mnemonics, words and words approach, concept of approach, associate learning, increasing word power, dictionary, role playing, and scenarios for analysis basic teaching. Role playing and practical approach, theory supplemented by the practical. Internet ready fan. Now we have come here. Handheld computers, digital camera, MP3 players, laptop, and e-learning that we are following today. Our goal, course, industry requirements, specialization in medium. Students need evaluation, assessment, on the side job. Right? Innovative method of teaching. Student learn best when the outcome is clear and integrated into relevant context. Need practical, not hypothetical and experiences. Competence, increase relevance and accountability in curricula. Challenges, too many competence, level, and very assessment. Defined by the need of the workforce and the skill and attitude, knowledge, skill, and attitude, SKA, required to achieve the acceptable level of performance. Your principal told that thing, that's why I'm mentioning this thing, right? Achieve the thought through learning and training process. Classroom is a hands-on field work, capstone experience and practice. What's the more thing? It's a pyramid, competence, learning object, and learning activities. Text teaching strategies. Set text. In clicker and assessment. Check in. Are you a student? Are students are learning? How do you know what? Can we satisfy something to mix up the students entered into the sufficient technology and real consider the work, peer-to-peer work? Yeah. Peer-to work and stay connected. You know that vision for the higher education, now education policy has come out. So expansion and equity. You are not interested in what I have learned. That's why, I will not make many things, right? Let us go one by one. And I come to the final point because you are not interested what I am imagined from my presentation, right? Because I have also taken a lot of things on management education. When I come to the, the things, I will not discuss all these things because you are not interested. I come to the philosophical concept between a bridge between the Newton and Sir James Clerk Maxwell in between the Cambridge River, and it is a scattering of the particles and the waves. It becomes a big visual between the wave and particulates. And this is the most beautiful word they have mentioned. One day in 1954, solar cell was discovered in Bell telephone. Now solar cell has come to power a vehicle, that air vehicle. And on that day, same day, dream has come out. And I was thinking that you have a dream and dream come to how we can do it. That was successful, that we have done some of the work in a remote village in Santal village, putting the solar power and see the smiles, how they are happy for putting this type of things. 3 persons, just I going because you are not interested to learn about this thing. James Clerk Maxwell, Sri Aurobindo, and Thomas Alva Edison. Maxwell told, people worship the God in many forms. I worship the God in physics. And Holy Bible, God says, let there be light. I say, let there be light. where the four equation, the cross product of electric and magnetic field satisfied. Sri Aurobindo told in Jadavpur University, was started in CET Bengal, student will serve their motherland. But what type of students are thinking, right? And Thomas Alva Edison mentioned, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, right? Sun and the sunflower. I will not explain because you are not interested. I'll finish this thing. There is a difference between you thinking and I thinking. How I will bridge between you and me. Thanking you. I'm sorry that I have taken much more time to bore you. দেবজ্যোতি আমাকে একটু পরে করুন, আমি একটু লেকচার আছি। I have taken the very small time because I have to finish it, but as student I have not interested what I have seen in the screen. I have not faced this type of thing. I have given a lecture in Malaysia, National University of Malaysia. Many places I have seen, and the students are so attractive you cannot imagine. But here I don't know how the administration, college administration, is building the students. And it is the screen, college screen is coming. This type of image or structure. I think Manas Babu think that whether Monday I will tell about the lecture or not.
Sir, I will talk with you. Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. I will talk.
Now, if they are feeling both, they told me, sir, don't continue. I will stop it.
Yes, thank you. I will talk.
Please talk with them because this type of systems I have not seen. I am giving lecture throughout the world, even Imperial College, Cambridge, many places. There are the students, but I have not seen this type of arrogant students that they are disturbing a lecturer by giving so many illiterate and idiotic structure in the screen. Principal should take a step against this discipline. Without discipline, nothing can be done. Okay. Thank you. We'll start the next lecture.
We're really sorry for the inconvenience at our end. This will be really dealt with utter seriousness, sir. And sir, I must say that your presentation was such insightful. Thank you so much, sir.
No, you are not getting me the time because the screen, how the screen, this type of structure is coming. How this, the structure is coming. How? Why you are controlling? It is not happening anywhere. This is the first time I have seen for 2 years. I am giving so many lectures in so many countries, so many places.
Really sorry for the inconvenience, sir. We'll really look into this matter.
Okay, please, I'm leaving. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Due to network issue, Dr. Ajay Kumar Ray, sir, could not continue with his speech. Sir, if it is resolved at your end, then may I request?
No. Probably he has left for next program and next lecture.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the information. So I would now request Mr. Debashish Vishwas to give valued inputs. Debashish, sir?
Yes. Tell me.
So if you could kindly... Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I am having some problem with the camera because I am outside on the road. So, okay. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to all the esteemed speakers who are...
একবার দিয়েছিস? একবার কি দিয়েছিস? একবার দিয়া? Okay.
Should I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
Yes, start.
Yes. So, Manoj Babu, thank you very much. Dr. Patro and all the others, those who are there, the esteemed panelists, the distinguished education leaders from various institutions, you all have contributed immensely towards the fraternity of higher education development for so many decades. I was collectively trying to understand what could be the number of total years overall we have in this panel. And if I'm not too mistaken, if I take all the panel members together, it would be in excess of 200 years. So students, first of all, you have to understand that how seriously you should take this session. Because when you have 200 years of experience and expertise and knowledge and proficiency speaking to you, it is but important
that you look at it very, very seriously and you consider each point spoken by every eminent speaker. If you have clarifications to seek, interpretations which you would like to understand better, or you want to deep dive into any of the points mentioned, please feel free to write back to your principal, sir. And I'm sure we will try to get you those responses so that actually this particular seminar, education and beyond, gets to be a very meaningful exercise. Frankly, I was listening. I had a little bit of a personal challenge because while the time was at 5 p.m., I was driving out at 5 p.m. And that's because of another commitment which came up, which was very urgent and which I couldn't say no to. But nonetheless, when I got the call from Dr. Patro, and of course, Mr. Thakur is somebody whom I personally admire and respect a lot. Now let's come to the fact of what is that which we are discussing about today. When we look at the critical aspect of employment versus employability, which was being spoken and mentioned by Dr. Patro in the beginning of the session, it's not the first time we are hearing about this or we are talking about this or discussing this. Employability has, is, and possibly will be a point which will be discussed, debated, deliberated, and pondered upon for years to come. Why? A big question may come in your mind, students, and all my addresses or whatever I'm saying is focused on the students itself. I'll make it very brief. I'll keep it around within 10 minutes max, and allow the other speakers. I'm learning a lot from the other speakers. It would be important to understand. The most important part is, why should employability be something which is more of a dynamic nature rather than static? Because whatever was relevant yesterday, the skill sets, the expertise, has become redundant today. Do you understand and appreciate what am I saying? I'm sure you do. Because what is again relevant and of importance today will become redundant tomorrow. So how do you keep up with the continuous process of reskilling and upskilling yourself? Now, these are the two words which I want you to focus on throughout my brief address or deliberation or whatever you can say about this. So when I say reskilling and upskilling, in simple words, what it means is that if you know something and you are not practicing it regularly, you need to learn it a couple of other times, practice it more and ensure that you are up to the mark on a regular basis. Example, even at the peak of their career, a Mahendra Singh Dhoni or a Sachin Tendulkar or a Ratan Tata or a Mr. Narayan Murthy, be it on the playing ground or be it in the boardroom, they keep conducting meetings, being part of meetings actively, contributing to the process of organizational development, playing for the country. And to do that, they do a lot of homework. You will see the number of hours and days a player puts in the nets practicing is far more than the number of hours they spend actually playing the game against their opponent on the field. Now, people can debate and say that, okay, Saurav Ganguly has been playing cricket for the last 20-25 years. Why does he need to practice every day? He can just get into the pitch and start playing, but that's not what happens. Because if you are not at it every day, you will not remain updated and you will not remain skilled the way it is expected to be. Have you noticed, many of you all, I'm sure, at least for some slightly elder people on the panel, we used to cycle a lot in our younger days. Maybe we have stopped cycling or we don't do it that frequently. Try getting onto a cycle after 20 years. Trust me, the first 30 minutes is going to be very difficult. It will only go on, balancing yourself. Why? Because you're not practicing it every day. You will still not be the same the way you used to sing in your childhood days or in your college days if you are not practicing it regularly. And suddenly you think that, it's there. So every vocation in every walk of life, not only in corporate career, if you're not at it and you're not keeping on sharpening your skills and focusing on it on an everyday basis and revisiting and realigning yourself to what is the requirement for that particular skill set, it's not going to work. So for employability, you have to understand that it cannot be a 1 month process before the final placements where you start getting ready for the campus interviews. It will start on the first day you enter the campus to do your post-graduation or undergraduation. And it will continue till the last day of your life, even when you're in your career, because that's something which you need to be updated with. Now, what is reskilling? So that was about reskilling, which we discussed. Sorry, what is upskilling? Upskilling is what I spoke about in the beginning, which is about the changing game and the ever-changing scenario, which is the dynamic nature of employability. When it's about upskilling, you have to understand that whatever your skill sets today, which is not going to be relevant tomorrow, then you need to learn newer techniques, newer tactics, methodologies, strategies to take yourself to the next level of proficiency and expertise so that I can do tomorrow's job in a better way, which demands a different level of skill set. So remember, what was the skill set required pre-COVID has largely changed to what it is post-COVID. The genre of online training, online classes, online education, online interactions, online meetings was not much prevalent before March of 2020. We struggled with it and we were very, very excited like young kids in the first 3 months when we were experiencing this new touch and feel of sitting in front of a camera, be it on a mobile, on a laptop, and learning how to get accustomed to virtual meetings and virtual classes. By August, our hearts were full because we had enough of it and we really started longing back to get back to campuses. By November, we again felt optimistic because COVID numbers were going down. And by Jan, we were more or less sure that we will be back at the campuses very soon. Come February, come March, the scenario has changed. The second wave of COVID is more horrific, more concerning than what was the first wave. And now it's almost certain that it's going to take quite some time for you students to get back to the physical classroom in the campus. So you have to understand that if you are now conducting or attending online classes, what happens when tomorrow corporates who wants to hire you conducts online interviews, not sitting in front of you, and you have to sit in front of a small webcam at your home, neatly dressed up, for the interview, and then start responding to the questions which are aimed at you or posed at you by the interviewer. The skill set required to handle a face-to-face interview is much different from the sort of skill sets required to handle an online interview. So you have to start focusing on that and keep sharpening the skills, and that's what is upskilling. You were skilled enough to appear for a face-to-face interview, and so was your institute, which is also part of my family because I'm part of the board of governors of the bhavans. So if that is one small part of upskilling, which is about the technology bit, think about the sort of skill sets an employer, a recruiter, a future HR head is going to look at while hiring you, because the job description will change. Most of the work you have to do sitting at home maybe, or sitting at the office, but without moving out to the field. Are you ready for it? And if you're not, it's time for you to reflect back on that. and think, how do you want to address this particular word, which is going to always remain the buzzword, which is employability. অনেকে আছো তোমরা যারা বাংলা বলছো, বাংলায় কথা বলো, so a little bit speak in Bengali. আমাদের বাপ ঠাকুরদার সময় চাকরি পাওয়াটা একটা অন্যরকম ব্যাপার ছিল। পদ্ধতি অনেক সোজা ছিল, সুযোগ সুবিধা হয়তো কম ছিল, কিন্তু চাকরি পাওয়ার পদ্ধতি বা ইন্টারভিউয়ের পদ্ধতি অনেক সোজা সরল ছিল। Situation has changed, so we cannot have the same luxury and the same sort of ease of appearing for an interview and cracking. আজকে আমাদের বাড়ির লোকেরা যদি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ আর SMS আর মোবাইলে সিদ্ধহস্ত হয়ে যায়, আজকে তারা যদি মোবাইল ব্যবহার করতে তাদের অসুবিধা না হয়, যারা কোনোদিন ওই কালো ফোন রিসিভারওয়ালা যেটা দিয়ে গোল গোল ডায়াল করতে হতো, that is upskilling. Our parents have moved out from those analog fixed line phones to mobile phones, and they're happy talking to their children wherever they are in whichever part of the world through mobile phones, and at times doing some WhatsApp calls, which are video calls also. If you are today using WhatsApp and videos and other modes of communication, think of what's going to happen tomorrow, where aspects like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, three-dimensional stuff which is happening, machine learning, a lot of other stuff which is all over the place is going to be just like the way we handle WhatsApp and Facebook today. So focus on that. I will give you 3 or 4 quick fix. You know, these are called hacks in current day terms. So I'll give you 3 or 4 hacks or easy solution to remain upskilled, or rather keep focusing on upskilling and continue reskilling yourself to remain relevant in the current time. 1, spend at least a couple of hours every day trying to look at what are the interviewing techniques. If you have access to LinkedIn, that's a beautiful platform. What are the techniques? What are the methodologies adapted by HR recruiters across the world to recruit campus students from various parts of the world, or from various countries? Look at specifically India, it will help you a lot. Spend a couple of hours on that. 24 hours you're doing classes, and the rest of the time I'm not very sure what you're doing. So spend about a couple of hours on that. The next what you do is spend about an hour on the industry which you want to focus on with regard to joining or attending. I mean you would be keen on a particular set of industry, so focus an hour on that and do as much research as possible on that industry, and look at what are the opportunities there. What are the skill gaps you have today which you need to upgrade yourself so that you are being able to perform better in the interview. Number 3, there's some beautiful live interviews on YouTube. Spend some time on YouTube on interviewing techniques, which there's a lot of videos which gets continuously uploaded on YouTube regularly by eminent people from various walks of life who are in corporate. So try to see what actually happens in a virtual interview. And the 4th one, which is last but not the least, the most important part, be completely aligned with your institution, Bhavan's way of guiding you towards upskilling and reskilling you and getting you prepared for interviews. Remember that the institution has a responsibility of supporting you with quality education and helping you achieve what are your dreams when it comes to your academic credentials and your corporate aspirations. But never treat institution as a placement agency. That because I have taken up a 2 years course, thus it's the institution's and my institute's responsibility to place me. how much we may try, if you are not employable, and in spite of having 10 employment opportunities in front of you, you will still remain unemployed. So the onus, the responsibility, the accountability lies on you. All of us are here to support you and make your aspirations, your dreams come true. With this, I would like to conclude my brief address. Thank you very much. I spoke about the beyond part of it and not the education part of it, because the other eminent panel members have spoken and elaborated a lot on that. And I thank you for the learning which I have gained through your analytics insights and the sort of deliberations which you shared till now. And I look forward to the next couple of speakers who would be contributing to the process. Thank you, Dr. Patru, for this opportunity, and Mr. Thakur, CMA, Mr. Manoj Thakur, for organizing this so beautifully. Best of luck to you, students. Remain focused. Upskilling, reskilling is very, very important. Keep on continuously focusing on that. And I'm sure you will make yourself and all people around you mighty proud.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Your suggestions of reskilling and upskilling were really, really very relevant to the students who all are, going to appear for the forthcoming placement season. So thank you so much once again, sir. May I now request CMA Manoj Thakur, sir, to say a few words.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
First, Osoranjan said, then myself.
Okay. Okay.
This is my request.
Okay, fine. So I would request Dr. Ashok Nandan Thakur to say a few words to the students.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me be very brief, because patience is a virtue, but it should not be tested beyond endurance. We are beyond 6:40. So in today's discussions, there are 3 points that I'll make briefly. The first one is, right now in the pandemic situation, I believe we have a big crisis in our hand in terms of education, because apparently we have been forced to take up a position whereby teaching is only to be delivered in a digital mode. Because of the situation, we are trying to maintain a physical distancing, as well as not being able to congregate together in a classroom, which certainly is a kind of disincentive for the students to interact amongst themselves during a classroom. I have seen with horror that apparently people have been advocating that science or technology could be taught without the help of an experience in the laboratory itself. To me, this is not only ridiculous, but completely absurd. Because if you want to test a hypothesis, you have to do that with your hand. A visual display will teach you how to do it, but doing it by yourself is going to be the primary necessity for learning from experience, as they say. Now, of course, today's students would be mainly the management students. So you might think that that is only for a specialized branch of science and technology based teaching. But what I believe is that no matter what subject you are trying to learn, there is always a scope for doing things on environment where you can practice what you have been taught and test the hypothesis. The second thing that I would like to point out is that just before joining this webinar, I had an opportunity to look at how the Finland school system works. By the way, Finland is one of the few countries where the education standard as tested in an international scale always places them within the rank of the first to third. In Finland, the teachers in a primary school identified herself as
Hello.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Why would she fail? Because when she was asked why would she join teaching, she said that it is in her family. That is not the answer that was being sought. So the role of a teacher and the student is so very integral to the crisis laden situation now that I would like to emphasize that as well. I would finish by saying that in one of the meetings in Delhi, I met a friend from England who explained it beautifully. He said that when I was a young teacher, my first task was to think how to teach. So I was looking for role models. After about 10 years, I started thinking what to teach. So I was looking at syllabus, curricula, etc. He then went on to say, now that I'm about to retire, I ask myself, why teach? I think in our entire academic program, what we miss quite often is that we think we know what to teach, but it is the learner who has to feel very keen in learning that particular subject. We can at best explain to him or her how this particular stage of learning might help her with her career, but the urge has to come from them. And that is why, instead of teaching, we call the teachers these days a facilitator in the education system. So, going back to the crisis of the present day, when a teacher is forced to teach in a classroom where the students might log in but then leave half the way without the teacher being able to sort of figure it out, we need to ensure that the student comes to the class not because of the fear of not getting the percentage attendance for qualifying for the examination, almost like a prison roll call, but comes to the class because they feel that they have a need to learn that subject. And finally, for the students, it really doesn't matter what subject you pick up for your primary studies up to any point. I was foolish enough to study physics throughout my life, initially during my student days. But later on, I started learning and teaching more of biology. So much so that most of the people around me think of me as a microbiologist rather than one with a degree in physics. So life would teach you that as you go along, you might encounter certain areas of knowledge that you did not possess, but you need to apply and know now. That is how you keep on improving yourself. Finally, a point that I would like to raise is I was also seeing a clip where the Chinese students now have a headband which permits the teacher to monitor their EEG, and with AI, they can determine whether the student is attentive or not. Because people feel that after all, a teacher comes prepared to the class, delivers an excellent lecture, and feels very disappointed if he or she notices that the students are not receptive to her lecture. However, the onus should be on the student to decide whether he or she would like to go along that path, and the freedom should be incorporated in our curriculum so that if a student finds out that a particular subject is of no longer of interest, then there is an opportunity to learn something which is both interesting and might turn out to be much more useful. I'll end here because there are other speakers. Mr. Manos Thakur, I'm grateful to you because you gave me an opportunity to share these words. And I'm thankful to the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for permitting their students to listen to an old man's tale. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for such an informative speech. Now over to you, Manas, sir. If you could kindly put forth your suggestion to us.
Good evening to all of you. Mainly Mr. R.K. Patra, sir, selecting that fantastic topic, education and beyond. My guide, Dr. Shirodi Chawa, Dr. Ajay Roy, Dr. Vishwajit Ghosh, my friend Devashish বিশ্বাস, my guide obviously Ashok Ranjan Thakur, my brother Ashish Sana, and dear students. After hearing the top level speakers, it is easy for me to say everything is covered. Only I can share few words what I believe. My friends, education is the process of facilitating or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. And what is the education system? The teaching, training, discussion, direct research, and so on. Now, what is the need of education? As per my idea, basically primary and secondary part. If I say secondary, money for education, it linked with money, equality, self-dependent, turns your dream into a reality, makes yourself confident, stable society, economic stability, and so on. And the primary part, as per my idea, it is happiness. Happy and stable life is the primary part. But how you will reach in the happiness? First, you should fix your target. You fix your target based on your available resources. Again, I'm repeating. You fix your target based on your available resources. Why I am telling available resources? Suppose I have the capacity to spend for my son, it is only 4 to 5 lakhs. But due to any reason, my son is thinking it is 40 lakhs. He is ready to spend for MBA course 40 lakhs. So it will create a clash between father and son. He should think, my father's capacity is 4 to 5 lakhs. I can spend maximum 6 lakhs, not 40 lakhs. So you fix your target based on your available resources. And to reach your target, the two friends, success and failure, it will come. When you are ready to accept the success, definitely you should accept failure also. Without failure, you can't learn anything. Success only gives you the enjoyment, and failure gives you the new step, new idea, and your goal. You have to reach the target. So you analyze yourself first. Mainly, the word is SWOT, SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Mainly strength and weakness. If you identify your strength, that means it is God gifted. Everyone's. If you fix your strength, or you know your strength and you use it properly, you will reach your target 100%. And be cautious about your weakness. As per my observation, 95% failure comes by anyhow, they are not ready to identify what is the strength God gifted. Any student or any people, if they identify the strength, God gifted strength, and use properly, he will win as much as possible. He will win. Next step, your success. If you think your success means the word is beyond, if your success means only one good job, one car, one flat, it may be family, good family, and after that, the travel here and there, India and outside. If you think this is a success, sorry, my friends, this is not the success. What is success? If you are able to repay to the society, as because we all are liable from our society. So not only your duty to help, to cooperate your family members, your father, mothers, a number of needy people are waiting for you for your success. So definitely your success, your target, but after success, you have to repay to the society, to the need, to the poor people. This is the success. And suppose I am thinking only for my son. When I will die, only my son will cry, subject to my bank balance. But if I extend my hands for another 100, 200 family member or the guys, when I will die, 101 family or 101 student or young generation will cry. So it will a web. So think today, what is your target? Only you love your family member, your mother, your father, or 100 father, mother, you are ready to serve. And last one, I want to live. I want to live after my death. I'm not a top class people. I will live after my death, 400, 500 years. Only I want to live hardly 20 years through you people, through young generation. So this is my motto. I want to live after my death another 20 years through my young generation. So my friends, all speakers, they have delivered fantastic. You learned a lot. And just I shared my philosophy, education and beyond. Education and beyond. Beyond means when you are ready to be happy, then it is complete. So be happy and live a life fantastic. Thanks a lot. Thanking you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I would now request Professor Dr. Ashish Kumar Sana to sum up the discussion and extend vote of thanks. Dr. Sana, over to you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So good evening, everyone. Shubho Noboborsho, and my deepest respect to the great panelist in this particular webinar, Dr. R.K. Patra. I know him earlier. CMA Dr. Sri Hori Chaba, the president of the Kolkata Cost and Management Society. Padmasri, very eminent educationist, Dr. Professor Ajay Rai. I have heard so many lectures in different occasions, in different places throughout the country. Dr. Vishwajit Ghosh, I know him very well when I was in Jadavpur University as the accounts officer at that particular time. He is a very, very erudite person. In his own credit, 12 different patents, and also renowned professor in his own field, especially in non-renewable energy. So we are really fortunate and that he has delivered a nice lectures on this particular topic. Mr. Devashish Vishwas very nicely elaborated the employability skills of the students, for the job seekers. And another learned people in Bengal, I always respect him, Professor Ashok Ranjan Thakur, former Vice Chancellor of 3 universities, West Bengal State University, West Bengal University of Technology. Now it is a Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. And lastly, he was the Vice Chancellor of the Sister Nivedita University.
Louder,
very Sister Nivedita University. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Sister Nivedita University is a very erudite person. Not only that, his lectures always encourages as well as motivated the young people. And CMA Manush Kumar Thakur, former president of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, and the ignite of young generation, of course, so-called we know the Manujda, and the faculty members of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, my friend also present here, Dr. Professor Shantanu Chakraborty, I have seen him, and the other faculty members of the different institutes, and my dear students. So if you look into the discussions, I closely heard all these lectures, and I have learned so many things from the eminent speakers. As a researcher, as a student in commerce and management, I have learned today so many things from Professor Patro, Professor Sirihori Chaba, Professor Roy, Professor Ghosh, Professor Thakur, and Vishwajit Babu, and also Manush Thakur, Manush Lal. So, if you look into this lecture closely, and their 60 years of experiences in the academic field, as a teacher, as a mentor, as a guide, as a researcher, as a panelist, as a scientist. So they elaborately discussed about the new technologies, science, the role of teachers, role of students, and the philosophy of the education, as well as the history of education, and the contributions of the educationist in the field of society, different aspects of the society. They nicely elaborated. I've learned so many things from the Motorola to the other field, or to the different experiences. All the leaders, academic leaders, as well as the great novelists, uh, they have sacrificed in their own life in a different way, and they crossed their life from the different hurdles. So it's obvious. And if you quote the Rabindranath Tagore, what he mentioned, yeah, the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. If you quote if you quote the Plato, what he suggested, the direction in which education starts, a man will determine his future in life. So, at the same time, Helen Taylor also mentioned a well educated mind will always have more questions than answers. So, my dear students, you are the right person to ask questions. So, today I am sorry to say no questions raised by the students, those who are present here, even in a modern tools and techniques are available in a chat box. So no questions I have found so far, that what types of questions, how are you closely involved in this particular seminar. Hope that in the next session, next day, Professor Vishwajit Ghosh, whenever he will be discussing on a particular topic, please raise your questions. So to raise the questions is a very difficult task unless and until you know the subjects. So to raise the questions also a very difficult task. I've heard the lecture of uh, eminent uh, panelist of Mr. Bishash. So he rightly mentioned about the employability skills, right? So absolutely today, the skills that you have at the right moment, right? So it may not be fit in the next day, even after 2 days. I know there are so many companies, I mean, sacking their people without any proper notice, even in particular one day, more than 10,000 people may not be required for a particular company due to the advancement of the technology like the artificial intelligence or the machine learning. So these are the scenario today that we have observed. Another one important thing that I could mention in this particular pandemic situation, because we are the teachers, we are taking classes on online mode. So at the same time, we are also organizing the examinations in online mode. So what I usually told to my students, so in this particular situation, there is a level playing field. If the students got the same marks by using the technology, so we know the level playing field. Every information reached every person in a same manner. So it is very difficult to judge a people, very difficult to judge a students based on their marks. So what is beyond absolutely, that how are you, how far are you know the, that means your capability, your skills, your determination, your communication skills, your soft skills, and other skills that we need for making a company in a great success. That is very important, that you have to prove. So being the education institutions, so we could impart only the some of the technical skills, or the some of the important skills that might be fit to the organization, but beyond, there are so many things that an education institution do not able to provide to all the students. So being the management college or the institutes, we do not provide this kind of opportunity, that whatever the opportunity that given by the Kolkata Cost and Management Society as well, along with the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Management Science College. So that to gather all these learned people over here and sharing their experiences, their knowledges so nicely. So I'm really indebted to their lectures, and of course our members as well as the students. Hopefully that in the next session they will be enjoying, and of course on behalf of the Kolkata Management Society College as well as the uh, Bharati Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, we must offer our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all the panelists for their nice presentation, nice sharing their experiences and the thought-provoking ideas and skills. And so absolutely we'll be benefited. And lastly, I'd like to thank the organizer, the Cost Management Society, as well as the Bharati Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, and our students that they have taken pain that in the evening they have so many works, but beyond that, they are still they are present at the end, and hopefully in the next day you will be enjoying more and more, and you will be learning so many things. This is the process in this online education system, online mode of education systems. Hopefully that you would be achieved in your life, you will be success in your life. So thank you everyone. Thank you the Kolkata Management Society College for giving me the opportunity to share my small views on this particular topic, education and beyond. Because with the university, in the university systems, at the right moment, we are facing a lot of challenges. At the same time, our students are also facing a lot of challenges. But hope that I am always believe in the positivity that after a few months we'll be overcoming the situations, and our students will be placed by their own way, that whatever the situations, the change that have mentioned by Professor Roy, that you have to accept this kind of changes and you have to adapt this kind of changes, and along with you have to overcome the situation. And I believe that the learning is a continuous process, that you have to learn as well as relearn, as well as do research on the different topics and study more and more, and you will contact with the teachers so that you can learn and relearn once again. Thank you once again for patient hearing, and hope that in the next time we'll be once again meet and we'll be discussing the another one topic. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I would request all the participants to stand up for our national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we are leaving. Okay, all the best. Take
Thank
care
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
to all.